November, Roger, stand by. And all units, 7 November Golf, by unit Alpha, Echo, figure out loud in here.
We at war.
DRX, lock and load.
Yeah. We at war. We at war.
Go to war.
Yeah.
No cap.
We at war.
Big snuggler.
Yeah.
King Cuddler.
We at war. We at war.
Let's go.
Yeah. NFTs, nuts. It's a drug war. All in, bro. Guns drawn.
Hello, everybody, and welcome again to another exciting, action-packed, fun-filled, and exciting recap of the Drug Wars. Good morning, Arlo. How are you?
Good morning. NFTs, nuts. Always,
Yeah.
always something that like pops out of the lyrics there.
Yeah,
every
it's
time.
the best. It's the best finisher for that intro clip, I think. For the culture. NFTs, nuts. All right. So here we are. The first battle or the first round of the round of 32 has completed, and it's been a pretty eventful one. Some very, very, very close fights and some complete whitewashes. So yeah, interesting recap to go through. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about something that's happening. I think, is it today or tomorrow, depending on where you live. Tomorrow, more than likely, is the next Legends mint from our good friends over at Altered State Machine and through the Futureverse. And the drug receipts community has been included in the lottery. So drug receipts holders or snugglers out there, you have the opportunity to get a whitelist spot, a coveted whitelist spot to mint in that collection. It's a very interesting mint mechanic that they're using, and those whitelist spots will be highly sought after. So it's pretty cool that drug snugglers have a chance at getting one of those whitelist spots. So you need to get over there, jump in their Discord if you're not already in there, or head over to the Next Legends website for more information. But yes, very cool and happening right about, well, sometime very soon.
Was
There we go.
I distracted? Sorry, I was looking at the matchups. But yeah, excited to be a part of that. There was some, I think, concern in the community when the announcements came out and drug receipts hadn't been included. But I think that was honestly more of an oversight than anything. So happy to be able to announce that to the drug snugglers.
Definitely, yeah. I know that those guys have been working very, very hard. There's a lot going on, and the mint came up on them pretty quickly with all of the different people that are involved. It's the first mint within the ecosystem that actually involves an external brand. So obviously, the Muhammad Ali Trust, or the organization that looks after the Muhammad Ali brand, is involved in this project. So this is the first real significant collaboration within the ecosystem that's not just being pushed out by our own teams and our own artists solely. So I think there was a lot of new and interesting challenges that they faced as a result of that, which kind of meant that, yeah, maybe it wasn't absolutely perfect, but that's the way it goes.
Cool. So we had a great podcast last night, just a few hours ago, and we had a couple of the guys from Arcade were on. So we talked a little bit about bosses, got into that because the boss rounds will be coming up before you know it, and we announced them. Arcade as one of our bosses. We'll be announcing more about bosses as we go through the next few days here, and we did a preview of Arcade's team. So if you missed last night's podcast, check it out. There's a lot of great content in there. Probably also is reposted in our Discord. 6ix9ine Mafia, I think was the name of their team, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But so and we introduced a new feature that the bosses get a purple frame. So we introduced a new frame that is available to the bosses. So a lot of cool new updates and info related to Drug Wars released in last night's podcast.
Yeah, you'll need to watch right the way through to get that Drug Wars related stuff. And we're not going to recap the recap of the recap here today. We're just going to get into the rounds. So should we do it? Should we have a look at what just went down over the last 24 hours or so, and see what the previous bracket or the previous draw looked like. Here we go.
We gave away a bounty was claimed last night in the results from the final division of the first round from 4B. So that means 2 bounties were claimed out of 4 available. And we've added 4 more bounties to the second round of competition,
right?
Plus 2 that carried over that weren't claimed. So there are 6 bounties now available in this round of 32. So yeah,
that's pretty cool. So when bounties start seeing them go off,
you'll encounter a bounty or that you'll claim one goes way up.
Yeah, so here we go. Let's have a look at what the first round of 32 looked like. So Tabby and the Underlords took on Serengeti out of here. Verde's Vixens took on Pocket Rockets. The Johnniest went up against Airless Glory Limited, and the floor-swept Sicarios battled it out with Freed from Addiction. So some well-known team names already for the people that have been following along and been tuned into Drug Wars. It's going to feel like every single match, every time we draw up one of these cards on one of these recaps, we're going to be looking at teams that everybody's really familiar with, and it's going to be harder and harder and harder. We keep saying it, but it just is. I went through and voted on this round, and I was like, oh man, I really like that team, but I really like that other one. So it's getting tough.
It's tough. It keeps getting tougher. And if we can bring up that last slide one more time, just to talk a little bit about where we're headed. So now these are the teams from divisions 1A and 1B. So basically we are working toward declaring a final victor from this division. This will be true for each of the divisions. So 2 teams will come out of these 4 matchups, and they will face off for the division title. And whoever wins the division, that they earn a shot at a boss. Basically, that qualifies them for the bonus round or the boss round. So that's what's at the end of this thread here. And then that's just before they go on to the next round in the tournament.
Yeah. So someone in that frame there is going to fight a boss, right? That's going to be pretty exciting. And it could be the 69 Mafia that you go up against. Who knows?
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
Should we find out how the first battle went down? Can we have a look at who won? It was Serengeti out of here. Wow. Tabby and the Underlords.
Serengeti out of here appeared in 1A. So one of the first teams that we saw or that we revealed or that I guess that everybody paid attention to during voting. But so also one of the first kind of standout teams. I think it's been marked as like an early favorite to go far in the tournament. And it's kind of lived up to the billing. Knocked out Tabby and the Underlords, which was a card that had, you can't see it there in the burned out hole, but had a cat mask Tabby, which is a rare trait, a super rare trait, but also 3 of the underwear traits, 3 caps with underwear. So a really cool and unique card, but lost to Serengeti out of here 106-78.
Yeah, a reasonable victory. So let's have a look at. So congratulations to Serengeti out of here. You guys are now very close. You're one fight, 2 fights away from fighting a boss. 2 fights away from potentially being the winner of the division. Okay, so in battle number 2, we had. Oh, there they are. Oh, a bounty. What is that? Oh,
so that's a Crypto Walker weapon.
That is cool. I didn't know that. I didn't know we had Crypto Walker weapons in all of this.
Yeah, so the vault got a deposit of goods and loot from the Crypto Walkers. So that was one of the things that the Crypto Walkers put up. It's nice. So maybe there's a little bit of alpha, but yeah, yeah. So that's a Crypto Walker.
Why do you think Crypto Walkers have dropped a whole bunch of loot into the wallet? I think we've given the cat's out of the bag, but we will hold on to the actual announcement. So yes, congratulations. Yeah, congratulations to Verde's Vixens.
Taking out Pocket Rockets. So it's funny because we just mentioned that. The underwear trait got taken out in the first matchup, but this Pocket Rockets also had a couple of characters wearing the underwear trait. So it's not a common trait at all. So that to have 2 teams in the same division here,
Mhm.
knocked out in the same rounds is pretty remarkable. Oh, and this was actually really close. Verde's Vixens won by 102 to 92.
Wow. So just 10 votes in it. Crazy. Getting tighter and tighter and tighter. So, yes, congratulations, Verde's Vixens. Not only have you taken out pocket rockets, but you've also claimed yourself a wee walker weapon. Hopefully, you've got a crypto walker. Maybe this is your opportunity to go out and get one, or maybe you can sell it to somebody who does. Who knows? But you have claimed yourself a weapon.
So the team owner for Verde's Vixens, I mean, the name is right there in the title. But also Serengeti out of here. Both of those team owners have multiple teams that are still in the tournament. Both of them are heavy contenders, have a lot of crowd support, are very good at curating, have good teams, have good concepts behind the teams, are putting out propaganda. But they're all on the same side of the bracket. So at some point, these teams are going to start facing each other and knocking each other out, knocking their own teams out, knocking each other out. So yeah, the stakes just keep getting higher.
Well, if we think about how the bracket system's working, right, they already know that they're up against each other in the next round, right? We've just seen that those are the first two fights in this round or this division. So as the bracket system naturally runs its course, those two are going to go up against each other more than likely in the next round, the round of 16.
I think they've gone up. I think we're going to find that they've gone up with each other in this round even.
Wow. The plots so thick. It's so thick you could sit down and cut it with a steak knife. All right. What have we got next? What was the third battle, please? We had the Johnniest take on Airless Glory Limited. Oh, this one was tight from my memory, Arlo.
Yeah, so this is case in point. This is exactly what we were describing. This is the two team owners that we were referencing. This is the same team owner from Serengeti out of here and from Verde's Vixens. And yes, just as you would expect, it was a heavyweight slugfest. Came down to a margin of less than 5 points, 107 to 103, about as razor thin as you can get. And the Johnniest takes this round. But you can be sure that the owner of Airless Glory Limited will be up to the task in any future matchups.
Yes. Congratulations to the Johnniest, a hard-fought battle there. And you are now one step closer to fighting a boss. All right. And the final little battle we saw in that round went down like this. Oh, that breaks my heart to see that.
Well, I'm sorry to tell you. So this is, there's no harm in saying that this is your team there. Trevor that got knocked out, floor swept Sicarios. And, you know, the previous matchup was, you know, the margin was razor thin. You had an impossible job here because last night we previewed the Freed from Addiction propaganda that they released for this. And, you know, it was basically like an in memoriam for, you know, just famous celebrities that were taken, whose lives were taken too soon to drug overdoses. It's if you vote against Freed from Addiction, like literally you're going to hell. Like, how can you do it? Like, you just feel so terrible.
I felt bad putting out propaganda against him. It's such a cleverly thought out and designed team. It's going to be very hard for anybody to beat that, especially with the propaganda that it kind of just slams in your face, right? It's not propaganda about, you know, vote for me because I'm kicking your ass, or I've got this cool video, or I've made this great graphic. It's drugs kill, vote for me, you know, and it's it's so hard to go up against it. And I'm pretty confident that they're going to go a long way, that team. And I'm very happy to have been knocked out by them. As soon as I saw that matchup, I kind of knew it. I saw the writing on the wall.
Well, I don't want to twist the knife, but I am going to go ahead and read the results. So this one was what we call a decisive victory. 61 for floor swept Sicarios to 125.
Wow, that's a thumping. That's a proper thumping. Did I get beaten by the biggest margin so far? I think I might have.
Yeah, it could
and
be. Yeah.
Interestingly enough to point out here, and this is something that I think everybody kind of took for granted, but there's no bounty on me. So you can see the bounties, the double agents have been randomly distributed just because you take out one of the team.
Exactly.
You don't necessarily win any particular prize for that. So But yes, a very decisive battle, very, very formidable team. And I wish whoever goes up against Free from Addiction next, the very best of luck. It's a very tough one. Yeah, it's a very tough one, that one. All right. So another a very exciting round. I still have one team left in it though, so I'm not out of the race. But
Exactly.
yeah,
It's kind of tough if you go up against Freed from Addiction and you lose. It's like, great effort. But if you go up against Freed from Addiction and you win, it's almost like, how dare you? How could you? Who do you think you are?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of support for that team in the community, right? There's probably a significant, a number of people in our community that can probably relate to that team and the team lore pretty strongly, I think. So it's yeah, like I said, a really well put together team, great thinking, and a very tough team to beat. So yeah, well done, Freed from Addiction. You guys are killing it out there in the drug wars. Okay, so moving forward, we've got the next round. So this is round.
Are we going to? Do you want to share your screen? Do you want me to?
Yeah, I'll share mine. No, I'll share mine, but it's going to go a bit weird, and I can't actually. No, let's let our producer. Yeah, can we let our producer share screen? There it is. Okay, so let's have a look here. This is the next round of 32s, Division 2. We have Air Raid Resurrected, which everybody is kind of familiar with that team and the story behind it, which is a really, really great story that's come out of the community. Everybody's pretty familiar with how that went down. And Search and Rescue, one of the early teams that came out when we first put up the I think when we first put up the practice builder, I think this team came to be, and it's been around for a long time. Very tough fight.
So this is a DRX set. Air Raid Resurrected is a DRX set. It's got one of each character against Rex Riders, which is all Rexes on the right for Search and Rescue. Thematically, they're both similar. They both sound like kind of like militaristic, themes. Search and Rescue, Air Raid Resurrected. They've each got at least one bomb in them. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the backstory in this is kind of interesting because Air Raid Resurrected, they lost all their NFTs. They were hacked. But then Search and Rescue, the team owner, I think was one of the team owners that literally came to the rescue and helped recover their NFTs. And so now the very team that helped them, get back into the tournament might be the team that knocks them out.
Might be the team that takes them out. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. And again, the curation here, I think, is going to be important. So this is going to be a tough fight. There's some good stories. There's some background. If you're strong and heavily involved in the community, you'll know who these people are and the story behind it. And then there's some very different types of creation, as you say. There's a set versus a well curated Rex Riders team with the matching backgrounds, and yeah, it's going to be a tough fight. And Kingpin versus Big Pharma, and it's great to see that the resurrected team owner has managed to get their status back up to Big Pharma again, which is a testament to how strong they are and supportive of the project. So awesome stuff. Okay, next battle we have URL to IRL versus No Cap. We at war. Ouch, that's going to be a tough fight.
Yeah, our producer, yeah, right there you can see. I'm sure he's like, his hands are like twitching on the controls backstage right now. So No Cap, right, who provided one of our great anthems that we've been playing out for our show intros and outros, along with Drug Wars from Nicely. So two great soundtracks were contributed by Drug Snugglers. And URL to IRL, all those drug receipts that are featured in the team were also made into prints that were featured at one of our Snuggler meetups in New Zealand, and which now also feature prominently in the background of a podcast. I've seen several clips from the podcast coming out, and you can see the prints in the background of the stage. It's really cool. So that's the story behind URL to IRL, right? These are digital works of art that were turned into real life prints in real life. So nice, and you can read the lore about it, how it fits into the drug wars on the back. But cool story there. And
Yeah.
No Cap is the first drug receipts metastar. No
Mhm.
Cap, that's No Cap up there on the top left. You can read about all the other team members on the back in the lore. His hype man and bodyguard. But yeah, as we said, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but now we are in, we're getting into the tougher matchups where each one of these teams has already defeated someone and has made it to the second round.
Yeah, I mean, the team owner of URL, so IRL, is a cherished member of the community, very popular, has a lot of fans and a lot of friends in the community. So it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be an easy fight for No Cap We at War. I think this is going to be a really, really strong. They're going to have to bring their A game. Both of them are going to have to really take to the Discord and take to Twitter and drive some propaganda. Or I don't think it's one of these battles where you could just sit back and rest on your laurels. So good luck to both of them.
Hopefully we will see No Cap actually performing. I'd love to see No Cap actually
Look, it's now or never, right, for No Cap, because No Cap could be cleaned out right here, right now. It might be the end of their run. So there's no point in sitting back and waiting for the moment to get out there and throw some fire into the war. You've got to do it. Now's your chance.
Don't leave any bullets left in the chamber, so to speak.
Exactly. All right. Next, we have the Beverly Hills Corps. It feels like we just saw them fight, but here they are again. The Beverly Hills Corps taking on Pink Riot. Ooh, another two. Are they both kingpins? They are.
Both kingpins, and some teams, like their strength rests more in the lore and the propaganda. And some teams, the strength is in the curation. Sometimes you come across cards that just, capture your attention. Like it's just like instantly it's like, damn, that looks good. And this is a case of two super well curated cards. When you look at this matchup without looking at the lore, without considering the propaganda, it's just like, oh, how do you pick? They're both so smartly curated and two totally different looks. And the reason it feels like, I think the reason it feels like Beverly Hills Corpse, we just saw them, is because thematically, at least in terms of like colors and curation, it looks a lot like Search and Rescue, honestly. But so these are two really, really strong contenders meeting each other relatively early in the tournament. So this is something we're going to be encountering more and more. It's like where teams that feel like they could go really far in the tournament, just because of who they run up against, are going to get knocked out sooner than you otherwise might expect.
One thing I like about this matchup too is, the ability to curate a DRX set so nicely is a challenging thing to do. It's something that I feel like is really only for Big Pharma or Kingpin.
It's true,
specifically Kingpin, because to have matching backgrounds, matching traits across the entire collection, that's not an easy thing to curate. So, interesting matchup, interesting battle, this one. Good luck to both teams.
Yeah, a lot of things at work. So, and just to clarify, when we refer to a DRX set, it just means that they've used one of each of the characters. And so these are two DRX sets up against each other. And as Trevor mentioned, it's an added layer of difficulty when you're curating, because it's one thing when you're just trying to match a blue hat to a blue hat, for instance, but when you also have to, you're trying to get one of each character, it raises the difficulty level. So these are two well-matched cards.
Yep. A great fight, great matchup. One for the ages, perhaps. All right, let's have a look at the final battle in the round, Division 2, the round of 32. We have. Wow, is this M&M's and No Cap are in the same bracket? Oh my God! I wonder if we will get to see the fight that everybody wants to see.
It could happen. But in order to get there, M&M's, poor M&M's, like that. The team owner for M&M's keeps getting matched up against real beloved community members.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that the team owner for M&M's takes no joy in knocking them out, no pleasure. M&M's team owner is such a nice such a nice guy, but also such a strong contender. So Eminem's very early on. Eminem's dropped the epic track Drug Wars. Has put out amazing propaganda. Continues to put out amazing propaganda. The team owner is Nicely. I mean, there's no mystery here, and he has famously finished second in a couple of major competitions. In fact, he did a track for the Gods and Goblins anthem competition, and he got second place. So he is really coming with all guns blazing, trying to get to the title round here. But he's got to get through Serendipity in this round. That is a Siren squad, all Sirens, all skeptic trait Sirens, and the lore, has nice scientific themed lore. So Serendipity, really a team after my heart here. But both of these teams are well deserving. I think everybody would be happy to see either one of these teams advance on to the next round. So this is the kind of thing where this is exactly why it was so important for us to come up with some kind of voting mechanism, because we did not want for these kinds of decisions to be in our hands, because this is an impossible decision. I don't want to have to, decide which one of these teams moves on. Let the community decide.
That's it. So yeah, and you're exactly right. It's a good pertinent time to remind everybody that, please vote for the team that you feel is doing the best job and deserves the vote. It's about creativity, it's about wit, and we want to make sure that the community votes through to the end and crowns the warlord with the team that they feel deserves it the most. I'm really looking forward to that fight. I think that we're going to see some propaganda all over the place in this round. It's nice that it also happens to fall on a weekend for most people as we go through the next 24 hours. So that hopefully provides a bit more time in people's day to put their best foot forward in terms of propaganda. So get out there, drum up those votes, guys. It's going to be a really tough round, this one.
And let's not forget, for your trouble, if you go in there and vote, you get entered into a lottery and you could win a fluff.
You could win this fluff. Yeah,
this fluff
just vote.
Right here.
That could end up in your wallet. Pretty cool. And with everything that's going on over there in the fluff world, I'm pretty confident that most of our snugglers are keeping up to date with what's happening across the pond over there in the Futureverse. And it's pretty exciting. It's going to be a pretty mad next few months. So that fluff is a really, really cool prize to pick up just for taking part. So get in there and vote and use it in your propaganda. If you're in the battle, that's your ticket to drive interest and get people who might not necessarily be aware of who you are or might not necessarily know about drug wars. Hey, it's a chance for them to win a fluff. That might be enough for them to jump on in, connect their wallet, and vote for you.
Absolutely. And you better believe that some of the snugglers in this competition are out there working other communities to get votes. So you need to be out there hustling up votes, rounding up votes, because in order to keep advancing, in every way, you are going to be up against stiff competition, but that also applies to the voting and the promoting. So make sure that you're doing everything you can to activate people and get them engaged and get them over to the battle arena to cast some votes for you.
This is it. It's now or never, right? Like, it's a knockout, no prisoners taken. There's no second chances. There's no, charity event or anything else. There's no lottery for last place. It's one and done. So this is your chance. If you're battling it out, you've got to get out there and get it done. All right. I think there's just one more thing we want to remind everybody about, Arlo, which, a great transition from the last team we were just looking at.
Right. So we just saw
into this.
Yep. We just saw the skeptically themed Serendipity. And we have a skeptic promotion right now, Skeptics and Sinners, with a trip to Las Vegas for the Skeptic Convention, the annual Skeptic Conference in Las Vegas. It's called SciCon, CSICon. And this competition wraps up today in about 10 hours. It's flash fiction. It's a mad dash to the end. We kicked it off at the beginning of the week. Now here we are at the end of the week, so it's wrapping up. We're going to review submissions over the weekend, and we'll announce winners next week. So get those submissions in. We're looking for fiction, drug receipts lore based on our drug receipts characters. The only thing that we ask is that you incorporate at least one of the skeptical traits, one of the three skeptical traits that can be found in the collection. Occam's razor, the Ecri candle that we saw in the Serendipity team, and the Flim Flam glasses. So if you incorporate either one of those or all of those or any combination of those into your lore, then you are eligible. If you want to write an essay, if you want to write a short story, if you want to write or perform a little scene, if you want to have characters performing a scene, if you want to do a little graphic comic, I mean, there's any way you can do it. It's just we want to see a story telling about the lore that incorporates these skeptical attributes. And you've got until 11:59 p.m. Central Time, where I'm located, or however that translates for you. But it works out to about 11 and a half hours from now to get those entries in. And we have a channel in our Discord that's devoted to this competition. It's the Skeptics and Sinners channel in our Discord. You can post your entries in there. You can post them on Twitter and tag them with one of the hashtags, which I don't have in front of me. It's probably DRX Skeptics and Sinners would be one of the hashtags. But you can find the official announcement in our announcements channel. We'll have all the instructions for what you need to do for your entries. But if all else fails, just post something in the channel on Discord and we'll find it.
100%. And it's going to be there's not been a lot of entries so far, so it'll be a really good opportunity if you're out there, you want to go to Vegas. It won't take you long.
And that's the thing that this is kind of like we expected it will be self-filtering. This is because the grand prize. We're also giving away 3 NFTs, 3 drug receipts NFTs, one with each of the skeptical traits. But I'm going to the conference in Vegas. Dia, one of our community members and our skeptical director, our minister of skepticism, she is going.
Minister of skepticism.
Yep. And we have a couple of other drug snugglers that are interested in skepticism, including my daughter, that are going as well. So we'll have a nice little drug snuggler contingent at the Skeptic Conference in Vegas. And we're looking for someone else who thinks that they would find value in that, who thinks that they would find it interesting. And you don't have to be a skeptic. All you have to have is interest in it. If it's something that you think that you would benefit from, then we want you there. And if you are interested already in skepticism, or if you happen to be a practicing skeptic, then all the more, by all means, get an entry in, and we'd love to help get you out there. So you can look up 100%. All the details in the announcements channel, but if you're interested, time to get those entries in.
Yeah, it's a pretty epic prize. It really is. It may have been a little bit overshadowed by the mighty drug wars, the all-encompassing campaign of the minute. But yeah, it's definitely a cool thing. I mean, on its own, it's a great competition, a really, really fun thing to be involved in, and an awesome prize. I'd love to go to Vegas. Hell. Exactly. Who doesn't want to go to Vegas?
It is cool. And if honestly, Trevor, if we were in control of all the factors, we would have done it a little differently. Unfortunately, we don't get to choose the date of the conference, and it happens to fall, right in the thick of drug wars. So it's less than ideal that we are promoting it right now, but we're working with what we've got. So hopefully we're able to cut through the noise just enough to get some entries in. Yeah,
100%. So we look forward to seeing what comes through from some of the snugglers, some of the entries that we see, and somebody out there is going to go to Vegas and hang out with the team, and have their minds challenged out there at the SciCon. Good stuff.
Awesome.
Okay, I think that's the end of our recap. And look at that, 33 minutes.
Pretty lean. Pretty lean. Not bad.
If Brooke Howard-Smith doesn't get involved, we tend to run on schedule. It's a really interesting thing.
I'll tell you, but having Brooke on is worth the extra time.
It typically is. Alpha falls out of that man's mouth like there's no tomorrow, and it's always a good time. So who knows? Maybe tomorrow we'll see Brooke. We have, as some people probably noticed, we've moved this thing right like an hour earlier. We've shifted the timing that we had previously for that reason, so that we can see a little bit more of Brooke.
Half of you will notice it. Half of you, because if you're in New Zealand, it hasn't really changed, right? We've just adjusted to accommodate your daylight savings time. But for the rest of us, we have shifted it earlier an hour.
The power of New Zealand. You know,
Exactly.
the rest of the world should revolve around New Zealand. Look at that. Huh?
We are bowing to the needs of New Zealand, to their every desire. Uh-huh.
It's not very often that America bows to New Zealand. That just doesn't happen very often. But we'll take it. We'll take it. Yeah, very nice. All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Arlo. Nice to see you, mate. See you again tomorrow.
Good seeing you.
Do this again. Good luck to the teams fighting it today.
Good luck.
Attention! Attention! Citizens of the drug receipt community, the floodgates have opened. The games have begun. War is imminent.
This is a war! This is a war, a drug war, but it's the type of war that you don't need guns for. You just shoot up to the drugstore and you can cop the